How many times do you guys have to deal with this crap? Oh my God. And if Marlin wouldn't have sucked that one, we probably would already have one. Oh. He is not.
I got one. Double.
Oh my God. Life of being a guide, get to sit here and untangle stuff all day while Marlin's already getting like juicy casts in the water.
Why'd you put them in their tangle?
I don't know why. Oh my, this is like not even funny anymore. How many times do you guys have to deal with this crap? Oh my gosh. Cameraman's worthless. Doesn't want to help.
Why would I?
Okay, I think I might be able to go fishing now.
What is up, all you addicts out there? Thank you so much for tuning in to another addictive video. It is early December and we're out chasing a unicorn. You know, in the Pacific Northwest, it's kind of unfortunate what has happened over the years, but we don't have a lot of early stocks of steelhead anymore. So it seems like when we're out here fishing, we're chasing unicorns, right, Cam?
Absolutely, we are. The goal of the day is catch a fish.
Yeah, we just want to hook one.
One fish.
Up a couple of holes upriver, I think I might have messed up a bobber down or two, but you never know unless you actually
There's trout, cutties.
It's
early steelhead. Unless you see the fish, flash it, doesn't count, strike the record.
It was 20 pounds.
No, it was not 20 pounds.
Anyway, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. This is going to be a fun day either way. We're going to do a lot of educational stuff like going over our setups, and fingers are crossed, we're going to see some chrome today. So join us for a fun day. Let's do it.
Make it happen.
All right, everyone, so as you guys know, a lot of times when we're in the rafts, we love to float fish. It's really effective. You can cover water extremely fast. And so we wanted to just go over the setup that I'm using. So I have an X Series rod today. This is my favorite X Series rod that they make. I can never remember the number, but it's an XS 9102M. Basically what it is it's a 9'10" medium action float rod. Extremely light in your hand, very, very well balanced. As you can see, I can hold this thing and it'll balance right here on my fingers. One thing I feel like that gets downplayed a lot is having a light rod actually is really important. When you're long days, 10, 12 hours on the river floating down, having a light rod like this, if you can afford it, is really, really nice. These are limited lifetime warranties. You guys know we're sponsored by 𝗛𝗘𝗟. We love them. The X Series is pretty much the highest end tributary rods that they make. If you can't afford this or you don't like 𝗛𝗘𝗟, you want a different rod, just try to get something in that like 9.5 to 10.5 foot range. That's where you want to kind of live with this float fishing setup. And then we're going to pair it with either a 3,000 or a 4,000 reel. You're primarily going to see 3,000 reels on my setups and a lot of 4,000s on Cameron and Jordan setups. So you can fit 125 yards of line on this reel. And if you get a steelhead that's ripping 125 yards of line off your reel, you've done something wrong. Tighten your drag. So that's why I kind of like to use these lighter ones. These ITXs are super, super nice reels. This is the high speed one, so it has a 6-to-1 retrieve. It's gonna pick the line up nicely. And again, it's light and pairs nice with the X rod. So 40-pound Enforcer high-vis orange braid. This is a collaboration with Tough Line, our product. You can get it on our website. Floats really nicely and you can see it in the water. So highly, highly recommend doing something that's high-vis. Doesn't have to be our orange, but anything that's really high-vis and you can see is gonna be super, super important. So now, we're gonna talk about the business end here. So we're gonna start here with our bobber stop. I like these little red egg stops. They're super nice, convenient. They go through your eyes nicely. They do wear out though. So like, as you fish for 3, 4, 5, 6 days, sliding this thing up and down, you will have to put a new stop on. But I feel like that's with any bobber stop, honestly. So bobber stop, first thing on the line. And then I have a 3/8 ounce sliding float here. This is a Hawken float, but you can use Bomac, you can use the clear floats, you can use whatever, you can use the new addicted sliding floats that we're working on coming soon. But that's what we're using here. I got a 3/8 ounce one. I got my bead stop here. What this bead's gonna do is allow me to adjust as I get down here and I wanna slide up and down my bobber stop. That bead's what's gonna do it so the bobber stop just doesn't go through the top of the float. then you also have beads below. And so these, I usually run 2 beads here. And as you can see, all I'm doing is just trying to protect that knot, so you don't have this bobber just sitting here hammering into that knot and wearing it out. So I got the 2 beads there. Then I tied in an inline lead. So this is a 1/4 ounce inline lead. And the reason I'm using a 1/4 ounce versus matching it completely with a 3/8 ounce float is down to my setup, I'm running an 1/8 ounce worm head from Addicted. So these are kind of like a Ned rig, as you can see, basically flat on the bottom, super long shank, so that way that hook gets farther back on the worm. Really, really like these. We spent a lot of time designing these for worms and they work really well. So 1/8 ounce jig head, Addicted red fever worm. That's my setup today. And I'm sure all you guys out there that watch a lot of our videos, you had to have known I was gonna have a worm on. I mean, let's be honest. The other thing I like to do too, especially if I'm running a decent amount of leader and I can see that it's fallen off here, but I actually will also put a split shot right here just to keep all this stuff kind of down when it's swirling in the current. So as I get back to my backpack, I'm gonna add another lead split shot right here in the center just to keep everything kind of down in the strike zone. So there you have it. That's what I'm running today for my float fishing setup. Later on in the episode, we're gonna have Cam kind of run through what he's doing, because he's fishing some bait, fishing some beads, and he does a few different things than what I do on the float setup. So we'll show that down the river, but right now it's fish catching time, so let's go.
I wanted to take a second to show you guys kind of my setup, because I do a couple things a little bit different from than Marlin on the sliding setup. So today's conditions in this side of the river, when I was picking what rod I was going to throw this morning, it was going to be the 992 ML Guide Select Pro. The reality is like a medium-sized river like this 9.9 rod can get it done in just about any condition. Small creeks over in Pennsylvania, or big water that we're fishing out of the sled. Anything in that 9 to 11 foot range is going to do it when it comes to fishing floats. You want something that's going to take up line, that's going to keep your line off the water. So that's why we're using these little longer rods. My reel here is just a 4000 Cymar. Nothing fancy, coated with eggs. We just got done with our fall salmon fall salmon bobber season, and the reality is like these rods right here, I grabbed it right off the shelf, are kind of my workhorses. That's why I got the graphite handles. That's why I'm using the Cymar reels. I can beat these things to living tar, and they absolutely keep ticking. And and I guarantee you the fish isn't gonna care if there's a little war goo and stuff all over that rod and reel. I'm running the 40-pound braided line like he does, but my bobber stop's a little different. I like the little nylon string bobber stops, because I did hear him mention to you guys that his little egg weights kind of wear out. But I do like using these nylon strings, because I can always like kind of come back through and tighten them, and I leave just a little bit of a tag end that I can get at it with a pair of pliers, or that I can tighten that up, because these will get loose just kind of like the egg weights do, and eventually you do have to replace them, but they do seem to last a little longer, but they are a little larger for when they're going through your eyes. So just something I do a little different, but both kind of get the job done. So I got my bobber stop bead right here, followed by my little indicator bobber, and like you guys have seen in many of our tutorials, that's just because if that's not being perched up on top, that's telling me that the gear is fouled. So if I cast this out and it lands all funny, this little indicator bead is going to be like laying over to the side, the bobber is going to be tilted. I can see that little indicator bead is sitting on top of the bobber, and I know that everything landed correctly, and I'm fishing, and this way I'm just, kind of maximizing my time on the water. Then this bobber happens to be a 7/8 ounce bobber. It's what it's weighted for. And I'm not necessarily using 7/8, but I've got a 1/2 ounce hanging out right here, and I just use a very simple egg weight. And just having that egg weight slide up and down the line makes it real easy. I'm not doing a bunch of different rigging stuff. I don't need to put bobber stops. I'm pretty confident with where I fish, and I don't generally snag up the rest of my gear. But if you're fishing in a new area, or you're trying to get your feet wet with this style of fish, if you add another bobber stop, maybe about 8 inches above the line, above your swivel, and you were to break off your setup, that bobber stop would save your weight and your bobber from flying down the river. So having that little extra bobber stop there will get you guys, might save you guys a couple bobbers, but for the most part, I kind of know like this river pretty well. So moving on past that swivel, guys, I'm using what we call like a chandelier rig, and this piece of line here is about 3 feet in length, and it's a 15-pound test fluorocarbon. Now I'm using fluorocarbon because it sinks. It's going to help get that bait down. It's going to help lay that bead down to the water. But in the middle of these, in the middle of this bumper, I've got varying sizes of split shot that are tagged to the end there, and tagged to the end at the bottom, right at a very small size 12, or maybe size 10 swivel. The idea here is just having a very small swivel. We want this rig to be stealthy. A lot of times I'm fishing it with small beads, small beta eggs, a small, like one of our tiny micro pink worms. So I don't want to have a bunch of clutter and gear on the rod. I still want this to be a natural presentation that I can get. So having a small split shot there to help get the bait down just the rest of the way and rolling along the bottom is going to make whatever I'm throwing on the end look that much better. Now, 15-pound test here. I will adjust this to 20 if I'm fishing salmon or bigger, heavier water, or honestly, if I'm fishing rocks and bedrock that can be real abrasive to the line. You can bump this up without any fear of kind of losing that stealth factor for steelhead in low clear conditions. Now, below that swivel, I've got a small, short, maybe 18-inch leader. So the reason why that this is 18 inches is because when I snag this, it's not if you snag, it's when, because with most steelhead fishing, if you're not snagging every now and then, you're probably not fishing close enough to the bottom all the time. So I've got that little leader there, and when I hook that up and I break this off, it's gonna break at that swivel and save all my bumper, save my float, save all the gear that I've rigged, and all I gotta do is do a small replacement of this leader and the hook. What I'm fishing at this moment is just a BNR little soft bead. You know, we're just poking down the river. It's early steelhead fishing. As we got down here into these riffles where the water was a little faster, we're trying to fish a little quicker water. So I want something a little brighter, something a little poppier in the water, get their attention, maybe make a steelhead move for it. But you guys can see we're kind of floating down here and struggling a little bit. But you can put whatever you want on the bottom of this. You can put a little beta eggs, a pink worm, beads, hard beads, soft beads. But what's nice is I only have to tie these small little leaders to fish all of the above. So simple. And then of course on the bottom here, I've got our size 4 Addicted Advantage bead hook that I've egg looped on to that. So a couple little different variations of kind of what Marlin does to what I was doing. But the reality is they both get the job done if you can put whatever you're throwing in front of a fish that don't seem to be out in the river right now.
Honestly, I think we didn't catch anything because the water was too clear.
I thought it was too green.
How do you think it's too green? Look at it. It's literally clear.
The fish only can see like 5 feet. They need to be able to see like 8.
That's true. It could have been the wind. The wind, all the debris in the water.
Big pressure change. Like that wind's blowing around real heavy because this front's coming in. It's coming right from the white and it's about to rip. The fish know that the river is going to come up, and so they all exit. They're all going to sit out in the Columbia and wait out the storm.
I think it's because your raft is really dirty and it's getting a lot of weird scents on my lures.
I purposely have the dirt on the raft to camouflage it. I purposely muddy the outside of it to camouflage it so the fish can't see it.
I think it's because we need rain.
I think it's because we had too much rain. The fish know it's coming.
We haven't had rain in weeks.
It rained today.
Not enough.
And then it was sunny today.
Not enough rain.
Not at all. I think it's because...
Honestly, I think it's because WDFW doesn't put enough fish in here.
Well, we can all agree upon that. You know what it really is, though? It's because the water was just too wet today.
It was too wet?
When it's just too wet. The steelhead just, they weren't having it. Water was too wet. They went somewhere else. They're not where...
I think it's because we started late. Cam's like, let's start at 8:30, wait for all the rafts to go down. And then guess who's in front of us? My good buddy Phil, who fishes exactly like we do.
We need to get a report from Phil.
Phil caught them all. That's definitely what happened.
That's the excuse. Phil caught them all. Phil caught them all on the river where there's 2 boats on it on this whole thing today, and Phil caught them.
That's it. You're right, Marlin. There was one for that rock. Ooh.
Big ass cutty.
Oh no.
Oh, monster cutty.
Might be a monster cutty. Oh, we got one. He is not.
I got one. Double. Oh my god!
Well, there was a couple in there.
I didn't set the hook too because I thought it was bottom.
I don't even know if they're big cutties or not.
Oh, that mine was a steelhead for sure.
Oh, that's a little wild steelhead, a little summer. A little wild summer. This one's pretty too, but oh, I caught a steelhead, guys. It's my first one I'm catching this year. Of course, it's also like the first time I've tried.
We found a unicorn, but it ain't a winner. So.
I don't think it's a winner though, guys. I think it's a summer. Just a nice little wild summer that chomped that bead.
Dude, he is just
Pretty. I think it's a wild guy, so I'm gonna have to probably just do a kind of a tougher release here. He's not the one I wanted. He's definitely looking a little summerish. Got my pliers ready because I'm not even gonna net this guy. We're just gonna give him up and take a look at her.
pretty little thing.
Nice.
Oh, it is pretty though. She is gorgeous. You see her, Alex?
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. There we go. Oh, just a pretty little summer. Now, most people, look at the big old spots on her too. Look at that thing. All right, guys, so you know what? Wild fish, not necessarily one we want to take too good of a look at. Oh, don't wait till we squeeze on the leader. We're just gonna.
This spotting on that thing really neat.
Yeah, look at those big old spots. I got her right there. I don't know if you can see all that, Alex, can you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm just gonna let her go.
Okay.
Quick release. See ya. Woohoo. Hey, I can't believe the bobber went down. I got one.
I don't know if you guys saw that. I literally, Addicts, Cam got that fish, so I just went to, I saw my bobber go under, but I thought it was shallow over there, so I didn't set the hook. I just went to reel on it, and it was a steelhead, and I got about 2 rolls out of him and saw him chrome flash. You got to look at him too, didn't you, Cam?
Oh yeah, at least flashing back there.
Unbelievable.
A lot of times that happens too, guys. You catch one fish in a hole and they've been sitting there for a while, chilled out. You know, like I said, there's nobody on the river today. Those fish might have been there for a week, and the reality is you break them up and you move them around, and all of a sudden that one spins out, goes down river, sees that other bait, says, oh, I'm gonna eat something too.
And
Can happen.
Cam always like to say, guys, hook sets are free. So if your bobber goes down, don't be Marlin. Everyone hashtag in the comments, don't be Marlin.
Hashtag don't be Marlin. Cool, I'm gonna get it. Now I need to get his much brighter sea-laced, chromy, and not spawned hen cousin.
Fish in front of that draw.
Yeah, you did.
I saw
You
him.
called it. 100% called it.
I saw him with my polarized.
With my polarized, addicted sunglasses. See that? There you go. Shh, don't tell anybody yet, though. So that was a cool little fish, but you know, this time of year, you're going to see a lot of those drop down summers, and what's going to be really obvious for the early steelhead fishing is that the fish is going to be spawned out. So that was a little hen. She was real thin in the belly. She didn't have any eggs. She'd already done her job upriver. The other thing too is there was, you know, real pink cheeks and then the real big spots. So kind of dead giveaways. Even though the fish was a nice, bright little fish, kind of dead giveaways saying that that probably wasn't a true winter fish. You're going to be more like a kind of a gray to tan back with little tiny spots. Fish is going to be plump, probably wouldn't have spawned yet, especially this time of year. So, you know what? It's cool to catch them. It's cool to see them because you know that fish already did his job. But the reality is we're still on the hunt for the first winner. And if Marlin wouldn't have sucked that one, we probably would already have one.
Well, it's getting dark. You guys heard all the excuses in the world. But the reality is for early December, I'll take it. We hooked one. We've been out a lot of early December trips where we don't hook anything.
Facts.
So,
But the big thing, guys, is we just got back from a trip where we filmed a movie, and so we've done a little bit of winter steelhead fishing on the other side of the country, and we're premiering it at the Sportsman Show.
yep, I'm excited. Hopefully all you guys are going to be there. Portland Sportsman Show, the Washington Sportsman Show, and the Central Oregon Sportsman Show. I'll have all the information in the description down below. We want to see all you guys there. Come see this movie. It's going to be epic, huh?
And just because today was kind of a grind and kind of tough, there was a day that there was over 100 steelhead hooked by the crew. So It's going to be a good one, guys. It's going to be a banger, as we like to call them. I'm excited.
And we're gonna have this as a bash format, just like you guys always see. So we're gonna have tons of prizes to give away. This will be the first opportunity you get. You know, we do our bash circuit throughout the year. This year, we're giving away a 𝗏𝗏𝗏 drift boat. So come hang out with us at the Portland, the Washington, and the Central Oregon Sportsman Show. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you on the river.